Hi there. My name is Bibi van den Berg and I'm the Director of the Executive Master Cybersecurity. Welcome to this presentation. Wonderful that you have joined us today. If you want to ask questions during the presentation, there's a button on your screen that you can click and then you can share your questions via the web address that is on screen right now. And your questions will be answered after the presentation is done. Okay, let's go to the content of why you're here. Cybersecurity, well, it's a theme that's really societally relevant and very urgent. There's a great lack of expertise in the field of cybersecurity. A lot of organizations and companies, both in the private sector and the public sector, are saying that they need more qualified, better educated talent on board to help tackle this societal challenge. We see this societal challenge in the media all the time. There are messages about ransomware attacks, about data leaks, about DDoS attacks, about sometimes cyber accidents where accidentally something goes wrong and critical systems go down. It's in the news all the time. So it's a topic that's important and it's a topic that deserves attention. But as I said, we realize collectively, I think, that it's also still early days, right? The internet has only been around for a couple of decades, and there's not a whole lot of people who have the expertise to really understand this topic and to work on it in an organizational context. That is what we try to remedy, right? With this program, we educate people who have a background in either security or cybersecurity already, who have some years of experience in the field, and usually they have very specialist knowledge of a particular theme. And what we try to do is we bring them up to speed more broadly on the program. So let's look a little bit at our vision for the program. So what is the vision that is underneath this program? Well, first of all, it's important to note that without a technical layer, without a technical backbone, no cybersecurity challenges would exist. But oftentimes, cybersecurity is framed predominantly as a technical challenge. We feel that over the last couple of decades, this thinking about cybersecurity as a purely technical challenge has come under pressure, because we increasingly also realize that it's also a matter of people using the technology. It's also a matter of legal challenges, for instance, in relation to privacy and data protection, but also the protection of critical infrastructures. It's also a challenge for organizations that need to get their own cybersecurity in order and need to think about the chain of organizations that they are connected with and to ensure that cybersecurity is implemented in the correct ways in every place. So it's much more than just a technical challenge. This is why we developed a model to try and help you think about cybersecurity and cyberspace. And the model consists of 3 layers, where we say the technical layer is the heart of the issue. Of course, as I said, without a technical backbone, none of the issues we discuss in cybersecurity would exist. Then on the outside of, let's say the outer layer, the 3rd layer, is a governance layer. This is where organizations, governments try to steer and influence and regulate what happens in cyberspace. They make the rules of the game. They also decide which cybersecurity challenges need to be tackled and at which level, and so on and so forth. So they basically govern or steer whatever cybersecurity challenges are faced, be that at the level of an organization or all the way to up to the international order even. And right in the middle, hemmed in between this governance layer and the technical layer, is a so-called layer of cyber activities. And this is where we actually see the use of cyberspace, right? It's kind of strange to talk about cybersecurity challenges only as technical challenges, because almost all of these challenges arise where human beings start interacting with the technology. Right, so a DDoS attack is partially a technical problem, but it's also a problem generated willfully by human attackers doing stuff, right? But the same goes for basically any other type of activity in cyberspace, and especially cybersecurity challenges. All of those are a combination of technical aspects and human beings who do stuff with technology. So that's the way we envision teaching you about cyberspace and cybersecurity. So a little bit about the structure of our program. Who are we? Well, this program leads to and is owned by Leiden University and leads to a Leiden University diploma. But it's not a project that we run alone. It's a very close collaboration between actually 3 knowledge institutes, all in the area surrounding The Hague. One is Leiden University, the second is TU Delft, and the third is the Hague University of Applied Science. Collectively, we have developed this program, and not just this program, but also a professional master that is taught at the Hague University of Applied Science, and a bunch of more customized cybersecurity trainings. So it's a close cooperation that's been going on for a number of years. And what you will encounter in the program is that you will see different teachers from these different knowledge institutes and teachers from the private sector come in to teach you a variety of different things. So more broadly, we also cooperate with a larger network of partners that closely work together with us. You see a number of them on this slide. So representatives of these employees of these companies oftentimes come into classrooms to give guest lectures and tell you about cybersecurity in their own environment. Okay, I would now like to hand over to my colleague Els de Busser, and she will say something about the curriculum of the Executive Master Cybersecurity.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Els de Busser. I'm Assistant Professor of Cybersecurity Governance at Leiden University, and I'm one of the lecturers in the Executive Master Cybersecurity. Let me walk you through our curriculum. In a nutshell, our curriculum the Executive Master Cybersecurity consists of a 2-year program, part-time. You come to class 1 day a week, and these 2 years are divided into 4 semesters. The first semester, consists of bringing all students to a similar level of knowledge on technical aspects of cybersecurity and governance aspects of cybersecurity. This is to introduce you to the topic. That means that we will dive into questions such as what exactly is cyberspace and what exactly is cybersecurity and why do we call it a security problem, and how does risk fit into all of that, the traditional way of looking at risk, and how does risk in social sciences fit into that. That is the first semester. The second semester, we go a little bit more specific. We dive into legal perspectives. We look at the economics of cybersecurity. So what is exactly the cost of all of this? And then we give you the option to choose either the governance track or the technical track. I will explain a little bit more about the governance track in a minute, but let me continue with explaining the curriculum. After closing off the governance track and a technical track, you also have the option to choose 2 elective courses. That can be data mining, that can be cyber crisis communication and management, or that can be actors and behaviors in cyberspace. And then finally, we finalize the program. It's an academic Master of Science, so we finalize the program with requiring an academic research of you, a thesis that you write on a topic of your choosing with supervision of 2 of our lecturers, either core lecturer or one of our guest lecturers. So let me now zoom in a little bit more on what exactly this governance track is. So you see here on the slide the parts that are highlighted in red. The governance track consists of 3 courses that each zoom in on a different level of cybersecurity governance. So we go from smaller level to a bigger level. We go from small to big. That means we start with human behavior. We start with the human in an organization. That is the course that is called Cybersecurity Management in Organizations. How does human behavior affect cybersecurity, and how does cybersecurity affect human behavior? Then we zoom out a little bit more and go on a national level. We look at how is cybersecurity now regulated. So we look at different types of regulation, different shapes and sizes that regulation of cybersecurity can come in. And then we zoom out a lot more and we go to the global level. We look at the geopolitics of cybersecurity. We look at cyber espionage and cyber warfare. Now, who teaches in this program? Let me just give you the pictures of everyone involved in the governance track. You see me here and Bibi van den Berg, who spoke before, and then the 3 lecturers who are teaching the courses in the governance track are Tommy van Steen, who is our human behavior expert and who will do the first course with you. Then we have Dr. Tatjana Tropina, who teaches the course Regulated Security Cyberspace, and Dr. James Shires will take care of the course Global Politics of Cybersecurity. And then I now hand the floor to Dr. Zeki Erkin, who will tell you more about the technical track.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Zeki Erkin. I'm an assistant professor in the cybersecurity group at Delft University of Technology. Let me tell you a few words about technical track. As it happens in the governance track, technical track also has 3 courses. Those are network security and technical interventions and measures in the 2nd semester, and case studies in the 3rd semester. In the 2nd semester, we start with the network security course, which is very important in general, because data on a single computer is not that useful. The systems are connected, computers are connected, IoT devices are connected, and we have the internet or a connected network. In this connected network, there are threats, there are actors, there are assets to protect it, to be protected. That's why network security course covers the aspects, the several different aspects of network security. For example, how to protect your data, how to protect your systems, hardware systems, software systems, how to detect threats, how to detect attacks, how to prevent attacks, and of course, if something happens, like DOS attacks, how to fix the problems. All those steps are detailed and explained by experts in the field. In the same semester, we also have technical measures and interventions. Actually, this course is actually talking about the principles of security, especially in terms of confidentiality, integrity, authenticity, and all other requirements of cybersecurity in general. So this course builds the fundamentals of the basic cybersecurity principles. And later on, we build upon that in the network security course. The 3rd course is about use cases, where we actually present different use cases in different domains. On each day of the course, you will have theory and hands-on together. So the lectures will introduce you some theory, and in the 2nd half you will learn about the principles using some hands-on. As an example, I'm also teaching in that course, think about data anonymization. Data is very important. Sensitive data is being collected in every application domain you can imagine. For example, when you do shopping online, the data about your behavior, your browsing history, your likes and dislikes are collected. And those are used for customization or personalization of the services. That's really beneficial. But at the same time, there are some privacy requirements. Your privacy should be protected, either because of GDPR, as you might know, and data anonymization is a very important part. So, for example, during this part of the course, you learn about how to do anonymization and how can you anonymize, what are the levels of anonymization, and so on, and apply this on simple data sets. And there will be so many other use cases throughout this course. Let me explain you a few things about how you can enroll in the technical track. First of all, we assume that you have some technical background to follow the technical track. If you have a master's degree, that will be very beneficial. Otherwise, we will have to have an interview with you and an intake assignment to see if you are qualified to follow this track. The technical track is given by a large group of experts. Let me introduce them in this part of the talk. First of all, I would like to start with Dr. Stephanie Rose. She's an expert in anonymous communication, and she's teaching together with Els in the introduction to cyberspace. Next to that, we have Professor Mauro Conti, who's a world-known professor in security in general. He's a part-time professor at TU Delft, and he's also teaching Introduction to Cybersecurity, which is actually the first semester course you can take in this program. We have the case studies actually organized by Olga Yatskaya and Michel van Eeten. Possibly you know him from his very famous works on economics of security, is also participating in our program. The network security course is actually given by three professors, three experts, let's say. Alex Stefano, he's an assistant professor in the critical infrastructure group in Delft. And Paul Pols actually is an expert, security expert at Fox IT. And Renata Kuipers is an expert in system security architectures and has industrial experience for the last couple of decades. Data mining course is given by Dr. Sico Verweer, who is an expert in automated systems, automation systems, and he does data mining in general as a research. And finally, technical measures and interventions. Stepan Picek is an expert at TU Delft working on hardware security and side channel analysis. And together with Renata Kuipers' experience, this course will be covering the basics of security in general. With this, I would like to give the word again back to you, Els.
So let me explain a few things about the educational setup of this program. What does it look like in practice? So lectures and other activities, such as workshops, for example, or serious games, are all held on Fridays. So 1 day a week, you should agree with your employer to keep that free. It is in general the Friday of the week that we teach, but because Fridays often are also bank holidays, there will be a few 3 or 4 Thursdays in the year that you have to keep free. But we have these dates way in advance, so you can already block them in your schedule and agree that with your employer. That's important. Besides these days where we teach, which is 4 blocks of 1.5 hours, so from 9:30 to 4:45 in the afternoon. Besides these, we also estimate that you should commit yourself to more or less 1 day extra per week to do self-study, to prepare for assignments, and to prepare for exams. Some students prefer to have a weekend day blocked out for that. Others like to do it on several days spread out over the week. That's up to you, but please be aware that this is more or less the amount of study hours that you should count in. Location is The Hague, so we have a campus here close to Central Station, which is quite convenient for those of you who need to commute. And that is also where our core and guest lecturers will be meeting you. Now, what will we use during the teaching? We will, of course, constantly keep our teaching up to date. That means that we will not only use reading material that is already out there, that is published, but we will also keep you up to date with white papers that may be coming out, new laws that may be coming out, or best practices. They will be made known to you by way of reference, or we will let you find them yourself online. And then for the assessment, because many students always want to know how is this assessed. So every course has its own specific assessment methods. They can be very different. So one course can have an assignment and a final exam, a written exam. Others will have one individual assignment, one group assignment, and then a final presentation that is graded and not a written exam. And then your presentation will be graded. So those are all kinds of formats that we will use in order to make the assessment as diverse as possible. It means that you will be working together with your peers, together with your fellow students. That means that there will be a lot of interaction. We will also mix the groups constantly, so interaction between your peers, between your students who are all working in the wider field of cybersecurity is certainly a big item in our program. And then finally, each course will have a weighted average of the assignments, the multiple individual assignments, group assignments, and the examination grades. And then finally, Bibi van den Berg will say a few words on the modular teaching that is relatively new.
Yes. So let's assume that you've heard this whole story and you think, wow, so 20 hours of study a week, that's quite a lot. And will I be able to do that for the full 2 years? We understand that maybe a full master program on top of an already busy job is not there for everybody. Not everybody would like to do that. So what we offer instead is that for the first 3 courses, so the introduction to cyberspace, the introduction to cybersecurity, and the course on cyber risk, you can also take these courses in a modular form. This means that you don't enroll as a regular student and you don't do the whole program for 2 years, but you choose, for instance, only 1 course or maybe 2 courses that you want to do separately. So it's only the courses in the first semester, and you can join those in 2 different ways. You can either just come in as a participant, as a kind of listener, sit in on the lectures, and you don't do any readings, you don't do any assignments, you don't do any homework, and at the end of the course you get a certificate that you've participated in the course, but that is that. You can also choose to enroll as a contract student, and when you enroll as a contract student for a particular course, that means that you do all the regular casework that the other students do as well, but you only are enrolled for that single course. Now maybe you want to do 1 course this year, maybe you want to do the 2nd course next year, maybe the 3rd the year after, or you want to do 2 courses in 1 year. It's all possible. You also don't have to take them in the correct order. You can enroll in any of the 3 courses you like. So if you think this master program is maybe a bit too much for you because of work pressure and the combination of doing a full-time job and then doing a study on top of that, then maybe you can consider doing 1 or more of these courses in the first semester in this form. Okay, we're almost at the end of the presentation. So should you like more information, then here's the URL that you can look at to find that information on the website. And if you have any further questions, then you can also always contact us by email. What I would like to do now is to look if there are any questions from students online. And no questions? Well, that's actually good news. It means that it was really clear, right? So we're being optimistic here. Okay. If you want to ask further questions, you can also have a chat session or a live video call until 7 p.m. today with one of our students who's actually available at the URL that is on your screen now. His name is Jacco, and you can talk to him and hear his experiences as a student in our program. And otherwise, if you have any further questions, then you can always send us an email at the email address that is presented on the screen. I would like to thank you for your attention, and I hope we have piqued your interest, and we would love to welcome you in our master program as of February next year. Thank you.